All right. Hopefully you're back. Looks like I can see Taylor and Sean both there. Hopefully you got a nice break and stretch your legs a little bit. Took care of some business, and we're back. Let me flip back into the PowerPoint for a second here to kind of relate to where we are. So we've done the preparing the drawing to plot. That is not the right subheading for that. General content and use. Preparing content to plot should be more like inserting border, page setup, that sort of thing. So that's a bad copy. We have not done create and scale viewport. We also detached our external reference and talked about external referencing and that sort of thing. Questions on anything so far? Questions at all? Okay. All right. So I'm going to sort of zoom out a little bit in this book. We've gone to the layout tab of the ribbon. We've gone to the page setup button on the layout panel. The step-by-step over here says to launch the page setup manager from the application menu. We could have done that. You know, AutoCAD has the ability to allow us to do one thing 3 to 4 different ways. Don't do this. This is just an example. I'll go application menu, that's the big A in the upper left corner. Actually, it's the application button. Until you push on it, then it's the application menu. Then if you think about this is getting ready to print, you hover over the print option, and then under print you'll see page setup, and it just takes you to the same place. Or if you're a typer, you could type the word page, P-A-G-E, enter, and it gets you to the same dialog box. That's just the nature of AutoCAD, that there's just so many different ways to get to things. There's no wrong way to do it. It's just, you know, whatever your favorite, most memorable way is to do it. Let's talk viewports. Page 50, 51. A viewport is just a window. You know, it's a fancy name for a window. In fact, I'd never heard the word viewport outside of AutoCAD until a few years ago when I was ordering a door. And the peephole in the door, if you order it from like a door catalog or a door manufacturer, they call that a viewport. And that kind of makes sense. You look through the viewport and you can see who's standing on your front steps, or if you're at a hotel, see who's standing in the hallway outside your door. So it kind of has a similar functionality. We can look through the paper in our layout space and see into model space where our drawing is, and we can scale it. So I love this. I know I already told you this. I love that they put the tools for creating viewports right next to the tools for creating a page setup. So I'll kind of show you these. And Sean, I think yours will look a little different than mine and Taylor's, but you probably still have the same thing. You've got layout and then layout viewports, and you probably have a large button that says rectangular, or Taylor and I probably have a small button that says rectangular. The functionality is the same though. I'm going to click rectangular. I'll left click the upper left corner of the border, the lower right corner of the border, left of all that text, and the drawing will be restored. So it looks like this. I'll go rectangular, left click the upper left corner, left click the lower right corner, and boom, the drawing comes back. So how'd that work? Did it give anybody a hard time? Okay. Yeah, it shouldn't. It's not hard. It's a pretty simple.
I think I messed something up.
Okay, let's take a look at it. Let's.
I still have that other thing attached.
Okay.
Drawing it.
So there's two things we can do here. We can either we can get rid of the viewport, detach the external reference, and then recreate the viewport, or we can just focus the viewport in on the drawing on the left. What do you most prefer to do?
Let's focus.
All right.
On the one.
All right. So here's how focus works. On your status bar, down where your object snap and your ortho, in fact, right next to ortho, the word paper is showing. You see, just right next to ortho.
Oh,
right there. There you go. You just clicked on it and you just opened up your viewports. Now you can pan and zoom until you can just see the drawing you prefer. And if you click the grid button, you can turn that grid off if it's too busy for you next to model.
okay.
That's good. Now that you've focused it, see where the right below the FP201, there's a strange number on your status bar. There you go. Click on that and try, let's see, try 1/8 inch equals a foot.
Oh.
There you go. So that's too small, right? You can see that other. So let's open that back up and try 1/4 inch equals a foot. You may have to scroll down to find 1/4 inch.
Oh. Oops. Here we go.
There you go. And what do you think about that? That's a little tight. I'm thinking 3/16. We'll probably do 3/16 of an inch.
Oops. There we go.
Yeah, so that's going to leave you enough room for dimensions and general notes and things like that. Now, if you carefully push and hold your mouse wheel, you can pan that to the left just a little bit, just so you can create a little extra room on the right side. You don't need quite as much on the left. That looks great, and you can hit escape. And if you want, you can pan it up the screen just so you have an even space. It's totally up to you. It's good. You're not going to you won't need a ton of room at the top or the bottom. I think you're in good shape. But I think we agree 1/4 inch was too small of a scale, too large of a scale.
Thank you.
Yep. So now where that 3/16 of an inch is, where your scale is, come to the left 2 icons. You'll see a little lock icon, and just click on that. And what that'll do is that'll lock up your scale to your viewport. So if you pan and zoom, it won't disturb. See that? Even though your viewport's open. Then you
Gotcha.
click the word model so it says paper, and you've closed the viewport. So you have color showing through your viewport. Do you want to show it black and white?
Yeah, oops. I thought that's what we were supposed to do. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. We're still friends. Just type the word page and hit enter. Good. Click on 11:17 PDF and then click modify. Good. And then you just put a check mark in display plot styles and then hit OK. And then yes, what that's saying is, hey, this may be referenced by several different pages. Do you want to update it? And you said yes, and then you can close this, and there you go. Simple.
Great.
Yeah, piece of cake. So I'll do the same thing. I'm going to do everything you just did. I'll change presenter. I'll go back to, I didn't change my name and email address. Hopefully you know I'm Darren. So you can see I'm slammed up against the top, up against the bottom, and it's great. I mean, I'm getting maximum viewing. I'm going to get rid of this OLE. But what you did was you clicked on what's called the paper model toggle, or you could double left click inside. If I do a left click, that'll open up the viewport. It's the same thing as clicking the paper model toggle. And then in here, you sort of just experiment with your scale. And what you did is exactly what you'll do in a real project. You go, well, let's see what this looks like at 1/8 of an inch. And you're like, that's kind of wasteful. Let's see what it looks like at 1/4 inch. I'll scroll down 1/4 inch. And that's just, it's close, but it's not quite enough room to put 2 rows of dimensions, top and bottom. So I'll go back to 3/16 of an inch, and that's just right. I'll carefully push and hold my mouse wheel and pan to the right a little bit. And once I have my drawing scaled how I want it, positioned how I like it, I click the little lock icon, and boom, we've got a drawing. Let me know if you need any repeats on that, Sean. If that was something that, if you need to repeat it or whatever. I think. And you notice as you're sort of setting up, you might notice your little dashed lines come into view for your closets. If not, we can fix that. All right. Questions at all so far? Questions on anything? So here's something I do on occasion when I'm working on a drawing. I've set the drawing up to print. I've got the viewport open. I've got it scaled. Sometimes I'll draw a rectangle through that open viewport. That allows me to see how much room I have to work with in my drawing. When you go to put your dimensions in, there could be a tendency to pull your dimension too far away from the floor plan, and then they'll get cut off by the viewport, and you have to push them back into place, and it's kind of tedious. So watch as I do this. I'm going to confirm that model is showing on my status bar, which indicates my viewport is in its open status. I also have my view cube showing in the upper right corner, and these are called in-canvas control tools in the upper left. These are all subtle cues or clues that my viewport is in the open status or open condition. Next, I'll go to my Home tab and I'll click my rectangle tool, left-click rectangle, and I'm going to get as close as I can get to the bottom left corner, but I still have to be able to see all four sides of my crosshairs. Left-click, and I'll move up and to the right, and I'll left-click, and there I have it. I've snapped a rectangle through the viewport. And what that does for me is when I'm in model space, I can get an idea how big of a work area I have from within my viewport. So let me know if I should do that again. You don't have to do that; it's optional. Or take a minute and put in a rectangle of your own. Okay. All right. I'm going to click the word model on my status bar. That's going to close the viewport and sort of gets rid of a few status icons and so forth. Questions on anything? This drawing is ready to print. It's just lacking annotations. Good time to save. All right, so take a look at my screen for a second. I'm going to zoom in on the scale, and this is just some trivia. This whole thing is, we're calling this a title block, but ultimately the title block is just, that part right there is the title block. It used to be the border and the title block were two separate items. The title block was a block like your window and your door, and it had the title of your drawing and the who draw it and all that, drew it and that stuff. So and this part over here, short of the title block, was the border. But at some point they compress the two terms, or some people say Kleenex for facial tissues or whatever. You get the idea. The scale of this, the scale typed into this border, this title block, is 1/4 inch equals a foot, which I use 3/16. So it just was going to be a little tight to use 1/4 inch. So if I want my reader to truly know the scale of this drawing, I've got to change the scale. And this happens with a double left click. I'll double left click right over the 4. It doesn't have to be the 4. It could be just any part of the border. Or really, if I double click on the scale, it loads up a different dialog box than we saw earlier, but it loads the scale into the value window where I can edit it. If I double click on anywhere on the border, just anywhere, it brings up the same dialog box, but I'm looking at the top of the list. I'm looking at the sheet number. So for my own convenience, I'm going to double left click on the scale, and then I'll just change that scale by backspacing. I'll put my cursor behind the quotation marks, and I'll put in 3/16, 3/16.
Could you do that one more time, please?
I don't care. I'll do it 8 more times. I'm just going to double click. I'm just going to, so first of all, I sort of just zoomed in, and I'm going to just double click. Double left click on the, I double clicked on the 4 in 1/4 inch. Did that work for you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll just put my cursor in a convenient location if I can find one. 3/16. And an OK to come out of that. Also, while you're still, if you're still in this dialog box, you can hit Enter. That will page you down to date. What's today? The 2nd, 04/02/2019. Enter. Put you into your drawn by. You can put your initials, and that has your border completely filled out. When done, we'll hit OK. All right. Questions on anything? Questions at all? I'm going to double click my mouse wheel to zoom extents. This drawing is ready to print. The scale is updated. The date is updated. Blah, blah, blah. Questions on anything at all? Cool. All right, let's go to Model, the Model tab, and we'll begin to format some text to place in our drawing. So we'll backtrack a little bit, backtrack to page 44, page 44. So if you recall before the break, I sort of demonstrated how the text was not really ready to use in AutoCAD. It didn't look bad, but it was just tiny, microscopic. And there is a rule of thumb. It may even be more stringent rule than that. Your text should be the same height from drawing to drawing and viewport to viewport, and what have you. At least within a project. If we're working on the same project, you'd want your text to be the same height. Say I've got FP, what do we call it? FP what? FP1? FP 101? One moment. FP 201. Okay, so I've got an FP 202 and an FP 203 and an FP 207 and blah, 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 blah. All that text should be the same height on each drawing. Otherwise, I got some splaining to do, right? And not so much to you guys are we're also part of the same team. But if I'm handing this drawing off to a permitting office, or I'm handing this drawing off to the engineer who's my boss, or the architect who's my boss, or whomever, if I've got note text, and I'll show the finished drawing in here. I'm referring to, let me show you this from the printable environment. The text in this drawing, the general notes, and I'll use my highlighter because I think it helps. The general notes, and then the shelf and pole text, the 5 shelves, the bench, all that stuff. All these pieces of text are the same height within this drawing. And if this drawing is part of a bigger package, then the other drawing should have the same height text. Now the bedroom text is bigger. The bedroom text is arguably it's a proper name. Like there's one bedroom number 3, there's one master bedroom, there's one bedroom 2. These are proper names. If you're someone who's like a site plan person, it could be a river name, like the Potomac River should be, you know, big text, and the road name, Fairfax County Parkway, should be, you know, these big pieces of text. Basically, what's happening is these note text objects, which are just they're a text style called notes, but you can call them whatever you want. We're calling them notes. I'm going to run out of room. There we go. Whatever the height of the notes are or is, it's just multiplied by 2 to get your titles or room names. That probably doesn't help, but basically this master bedroom is 2 times taller than the notes here. And that's kind of a rule of thumb. That might be a hard and fast rule at your office or you know, what have you. So why am I telling you all this stuff? Let me erase all this. Where's erase? There's erase. We can format text to tell a story in our drawing and kind of keep it neat. And what we do is this. We use, I'm going to bring up this cheat sheet. I just checked the materials area of Go-To Training. You have this cheat sheet which helps us size text. So in this cheat sheet, we've got this is a really small list of scales. If you were to Google AutoCAD scale factor cheat sheet, which is just what we're calling this, AutoCAD scale factor cheat sheet, you'll get hundreds, if not thousands, of returns, and it won't be 2 pages long like this one. It might be 13 pages long or 30 pages long or something like that, which to me, once you get past like 4 pages, it's not a cheat sheet, it's kind of a book. But anyways, our scale, our viewport, we scaled it to 3/16 of an inch equals 1 foot. So that in our little table, that scale is right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 from the top. The scale is 3/16 of an inch equals 1 foot. The scale factor is 64, and again, the scale factor is arrived at by if you take 3/16 of an inch, which I don't know what the decimal equivalent of that is. Anybody know the decimal equivalent of 3/16? I know on the back side of this cheat sheet it says it. Let me see if I can get to it real quick. 3/16 on my eyesight. It's 0.1875. Now can I get this back in place? Boom, there we go. If I were to take my pen, you know, 0.1875 and divide 12 by that value, I would end up at 64, which is what that value is right there. I'm not a math person, so if that's wrong, don't tell me. It'll break my heart. But here's where you can, if at the bottom of this list you look at 3 divided by 12, right? 3 inches equals 1 foot. That's 4. That one you can, I'm pretty confident that's right. What do I care? So the scale factor is multiplied against your plotted text height or your desired text height. So in our drawing, let's say we're going to make our notes, our shelf and pole, our 5 shelves, or general notes are going to be 3/32 of an inch high when we print this drawing out. So that means we take that 3/32 of an inch. I'm not going to write anymore, I'll just sort of show you. We take 3/32 of an inch, we multiply it by 64, and that gives us 6-inch high text in model space. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I will say this, as you're pondering those thoughts. I didn't know this relationship for the longest time of all these numbers. Someone gave me a cheat sheet and said, hey, most of my drawings were 1/8 text, or 1/8 scale, 8 scale drawings. So say, just make, I would go, okay, 1/8 inch, 9 inches. I even crossed out all the 1/8 stuff. Say your office uses 1/8 high plotted text. Well, you could scratch out the 3/32. You don't need it. or usually your office will use the same height text from drawing to drawing. My personal thought is if I never print a drawing out half size, I can make my text 3/32 of an inch high. If I ever go half size, that 3/32 of an inch becomes 3/64 of an inch and becomes hard to read. So then I would make my drawing 1/8 inch. But in our example, let's say we're going to be 3/32 of an inch high. Our note text wants to be 6 inches high. So with that said, let me come back into the book, and in the book we've got the home tab of the ribbon highlighted or set current. The annotation panel is expanded, and this A with a paintbrush button has been clicked to produce, where are you? The dialog box shown on page 47. So let me copy this little blurb here. Let's do a Control-C. Get into my Autocad. I'm going to paste my little blurb as a guideline. And then we'll open up the Textile Manager, which, again, on the Home tab of the ribbon, expand the annotation panel and click the A with a paintbrush to get into your Textile Manager. And let me know if you don't find that, because it's not entirely easy to find. It's not that hard to find, but it's just that the A with a paintbrush doesn't look like a button. I think it's traditionally the problem. Did you both find it okay?
Yes.
Nice. All right. All right. So now what? Well, here's this dialog box where we can start creating our text styles. Every AutoCAD drawing will have annotative and it will have standard. So in my drawing, standard has a font set to Arial. Do you all have that?
Yes.
And you too, Sean? See that the standard style has a font set to Arial? Did I lose you, Sean? Are you still there? Oops. I just sent him a note, just see if he can hear me. Yeah, okay. I can't hear you. Okay, why can't I hear you? You wouldn't know that. Can I unmute? Oh, I don't have you muted. That's really weird. Unmute all. Okay, sorry. We'll pause. Technology. So that was, I think, your response to me, a little flashing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Great.
So I found a text box, and under my standard, my font name comes up txt.shx.
And that's usually what it is. I'm surprised that mine is Arial, and I'm a little bit surprised that Taylor's is Arial. I think it should be Arial, but it used to always default to TXT SHX. So I think yours is more normal than ours. Here's why I bring it up. There's a number of things in AutoCAD that utilize that standard text style. And I don't tell most of my classes this. I try not to add a lot of extra information because I feel like if you say too much, you've said too much. But standard, it would be good to have standard set to Arial. If you compare your preview to my preview, even if you don't like Arial, you like Arial better than you like TXT SHX. So step one, if your standard style is not set to something that you like, you should set it to something that you like Arial. I don't know that you like Arial, but it's a common popular font.
So I changed mine to Arial.
Perfect. So then you may have all these same styles as I have. Annotative, dims, standard I know you have, title block bold, and title block regular. The title block brought in these two fonts. If we had come to this point to create our textiles prior to bringing in the border and so forth, you wouldn't see that title block bold and title block regular and so forth. Dims came in with the residential fixtures drawing. We inserted that and it brought that textile with it. Annotative and standard were already here. And you probably don't even care. I don't even know why I go through all the verbiosity of this, but I just kind of wanted you to know that. There's not a lot of useful text in an AutoCAD drawing. So the little blurb that I pasted onto the right has some textiles that we're going to create. Room name, and room area, and notes, and dims. And you probably already have a dims textile because it came in with the residential fixtures drawing. Is that right?
Yeah, I have all the ones that you were talking about, yes.
Okay, and I imagine, Taylor, you too?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So we can just kind of scratch that one out. Just imagine I just crossed out dims. We'll talk about it when we get there. So here's how this works. We've figured out how big our notes text should be on the right-hand side, where number 3 is create textile notes. The font is Romans. That's just a pervasive font throughout the industries. And the width factor is 0.8. The height is 6. The height of 6 was determined by preferred finished height of 3/32 of an inch with a scale factor with a scale of 3/16, 6 inches. So start by clicking. Well, before we do that, if we create these in order, right? We create room name first, which is the proper name. We're going to make our room name twice as tall as our notes. So that's where the 12 inches comes from. So we'll start by clicking new. We'll call this room name. However, personally, I would like to call this titles. If you were someone who didn't do floor plans, you wouldn't use a font called or a style called room name. It would be something else. So titles is more generic, but I want to keep sort of in alignment with the book. So when you come back to, if you refer to the book later on, I don't want to confuse you. So our first style is room name. We'll click OK. And because for Taylor and I, and now I guess, Sean, you too, you may have already changed your standard to Arial. Room name, the font is already Arial. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Swipe over the height of 0 feet, 0 inches, type in 12. And if you want, you can change the width factor from 1 to 0.8. That one's not as crucial. But when you're done making your changes, hit apply. And that'll be our first formatted style. When you're ready, click new. This one will be called room area. Okay. We'll change the font. Really, you could keep it at Arial if you like it, but I'm going to open up my font list. There's somewhere on the order of 100 or more fonts in Autocad. There's a lot of them. And I'm going to use this one called Romans. I'll type in ROM as fast as I can. And you'll see Roman C for Roman complex, Roman D for Roman duplex, Roman S for Roman simplex. And that's the one I'm going to use is Roman S. There might even be one called Roman S1/V whatever. Just use the regular Roman S.shx. Or
It's not letting me change the height.
okay, I gotta look at that.
Is it one dash? Okay, I might be putting it in incorrectly. 1 0. Oh, maybe because I'm hitting apply and we're just not done yet. It says invalid height.
Well, try this. Just click in the height window. I'll click in the height window. Just backspace till you can backspace no further. Type 12, and then hit apply and see if that.
12. Oh, that worked.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So there must have been an extra little something in there. There could have been an extra hyphen, an extra quotation mark. Who knows? You know, AutoCAD is. I would love for it just to go. Okay, Taylor, you put in an extra quotation mark. I know you don't need that, but it just seizes up and it can't move forward. Which I think probably a lot of software would do that. So room area. Oh, so you've done room name, Arial, 12. Width factor is optional. Apply. And then you can click New, type in room area. We're suggesting Roman S. You can use whatever font you want. And again, I got to it by opening up the list, typing in ROM, and then finding Roman S. This, I don't know why I feel I need to tell this, but this is a really, like I said, pervasive font, especially back in the 90s when we had pen plotters. This font was less likely to, the ink was less likely to run. You had a single line, single line for your A, single line for your B, and it didn't bleed. Nowadays we have these laser printers or jet printers, and the bleeding is kind of a situation of the past, a problem of the past. So room area will be Roman S or whatever font you choose. The height will be 8. The height for room area is just something between room name and notes. I'm not a big fan of having that many different textiles, but here we are. It's just good practice. Room area, Romans 8. I'm going to keep the width factor at 0.8. Hit apply. And then finally we'll go one more new style, new. This will be notes. Okay. The font is Romans. The height will be 6. The width factor, it's notes that's driving us to make the width factor 0.8 and apply. And let's do one more thing here. Well, 2 more things. We'll do 2 more things. When you're ready, left click on DIMS. The DIMS textile is using a simplex font in this drawing, which looks just like Roman S. It's a simple font. It doesn't look any different. It's just a different name. It's 0 inches high, and it should be 0 inches high because we have a dialog box that allows us to create dimensions and pick a text object for those dimensions. And the DIMS style is to be used with the dimensions. We can pick that style and size it only if we leave the height in the textile dialog box set to 0. So that's a little weird at first. So I don't want to change the height, but I do want to change the width factor. Swipe over the 1.0, type in 0.8, and then hit apply. And then we'll do one more thing, and that is select room name style, select your set current button on the far right side, and then we can close this dialog box. We'll close the dialog box. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this OLE, delete it, and we can put some text in. So the textile, just to confirm, you can open up your annotation panel on the home tab of the ribbon and see in this what's called the style gallery if room name isn't sitting in that window. That's your textile window. That'll be our first piece of text that we input. And here, I'll show you some options here. If you want to watch me do this first one, I'll show you some options you can use with placing text, and then I'll shut up and let you put your text in. I'm going to start with the master bedroom. I'll start by using the Multiline Text tool. There's two text tools. There's single line and multi-line. They're both great. I just like multi-line. It's just feature rich. I'll click Multiline Text, and this tool wants me to create a window to hold my text. So I'm going to left click the upper left corner of the master bedroom. I'll left click the lower right corner of the bedroom. So get to that point. Start your Multiline Text tool, left click the upper left corner, inside corner of the master bedroom, and then left click the lower right corner of the master bedroom. Once you've done that, your ribbon tab changes into just text tools. It's called your text editor ribbon tab. And you've got a ruler, and you have a text window sort of pinned to the top of your master bedroom area, if you will. I want to change the justification for that, which is going to happen on the paragraph panel. There's a big A. It says justification on the paragraph panel. I'm going to change to middle center. So you hit the word justification, click on middle center, and that's the result right there. It puts that text window and its ruler at the middle of that space. Now, I don't think a lot of people do this with their AutoCAD drawings. They're not as OCD, if you will, or whatever, with their text placement. And I shouldn't be either. You know, you almost should put the dimensions in first, but I'm going to type in master, enter, bed, room, and then I'll just left click away from that text window. That takes me out of text editing mode. Left click. So one thing I can see that I did wrong is I didn't change my layer first. I should have changed to the ANO note layer. But let me know if you're having any trouble placing that text before I move forward. Okay, so I'm going to left click my master bedroom. I'll just single left click it. I'm going to open up my layer control window. Left click on ANO note layer. That moves that text to my note layer. I'll hit escape to deselect it. Then I'll go back to my layer control window and click on the ANO note layer. And now I've made that my current layer. So now I won't have to keep changing my layer back to, or change the layer assignment for my text that I've placed. I'm going to repeat the process in bedroom 3. Left click Multiline Text, left click the upper left corner, left click the lower right corner, change my justification to middle center, bedroom, number, I botched that, number 3. Left click away from it, Multiline Text, left click the upper left corner, and you can go right to left, not left to right. You know, I'm just creature habit. Middle center justify, bedroom, number 2. All right, questions, comments, problems?
Mine aren't bold.
Let's take a look at, I'm going to save my drawing, and then let's take a look at your screen. How do you pronounce your last name? Is it Kirker?
Yes.
I like it. You're right, they're not bold. So if you click on the annotation panel, the little drop down, then click on the A with a paintbrush, the little style button. Nice. Room name is Romans. If you left click on Romans, change it to, just type AR as fast as you can. There you go. And then click Arial. And then apply and close.
Okay, I must have switched that one.
Yeah, and then there you go. Boom. It doesn't always work automatically. Sometimes it has to be, you have to regen, but they work fine.
Great, thank you.
Sure, no problem at all. So then once you've placed your room text in here, we can then put the room area in, and what is the room area? I think they were using an actual area. Let's see. Bedroom 3 is 180. I'm going to write this down because I'll forget this. $187.3. 246.7. Ooh, that's terrible handwriting. And then B2 equals 271.8. Okay, coming back to the drawing. I am going to start. Well, take a look at this. If do you want to take a look at something? I'll show you something, and you tell me if you want to do it this way or not. All 3 of these bedrooms are rectangular, more or less. I mean, you could almost call them square, but they're not quite square. I'm going to create a polyline, and you can do this too. Just left-click the rectangle tool, left-click the upper left corner of master bedroom, left-click the lower right corner of master bedroom, or you can reverse that. Like do that. We'll put rectangles on all 3 bedrooms. What was that buzz? Okay, so far so good?
Yes.
Yep, all good.
Good. Okay, I can't guarantee this will work completely smoothly, but it's a kind of a nice way to sort of refer back to an earlier exercise. Step 1, let's change text styles. That was hard to say. We'll change text styles. Open up where it says annotation, open up where it says room name, and click on room area. Room area. And then we'll start with we'll start with bedroom number 3. If I have this habit of working left to right, up to down, we'll start with bedroom number 3. Left click your polyline that you created, or the rectangle, and then from the properties, expanded property panel, click list. And what we're seeing here is a ton of information, part of which is the square footage, 187 point, oh my God, my eyesight, 3472. When you find that, highlight it or swipe over it to select it in your list window. Hold your control key and press the letter C, control C. Are you hearing that beeping noise? I hope not. So
No.
Okay, as a truck backing up as slowly as it can outside my window. So it's beeping and it's distracting. But to me only. So you swipe over your text, control C, and then you can dismiss that window and go control V. You may have to initialize your screen, control V, and paste that. That is monstrous. So like I said, I can't guarantee this will work out perfectly, but I'll fix that afterwards. Sometimes it does adopt all the properties. Let me take a look at something. Annotation, room area, should be 8 inches. Mine's just, that's got to be 12 inches. But I'll repeat it. I'll fix them all at once. Left click my polyline in master bedroom, list, swipe over that value, control C it, and control V. Yeah, it's a foot tall. I'll fix it though. And then one more time, left click the polyline, left click list, swipe over the text, control C, control V, control V. How's that working? Is it giving anyone a hard time?
Yeah, at first it came up, and then I got the list, I got the square foot, I clicked Control C, and everything disappeared. Like my list and everything disappeared.
Let's see what's happening. I'm going to look at your screen if I can.
So I clicked that line, right?
Yeah.
Click the line. Then I click the properties. Hit the list. Oh, now it worked. Well, it's funny because my square footage is a little different than yours.
Probably just slightly different. What was mine? Yours is probably right. Mine's wrong.
Actually, it looks like mine's off because my line's not all the way to the corner. I can see my line's not directly into the corner a little bit.
So you could grip edit that. If it were a big deal, you could grip edit it and redo it. It's up to you.
I'm not worried about it. Yeah, it says it's only a couple square feet.
So now.
So then I highlight that, right?
Yep.
And then I control C.
Yep. And then left click on your drawing, and then control V, see if it works. There we go. And so yours is kind of, I don't know why it's making the text the wrong height, but we can fix that. So we'll fix that when you're ready.
Okay.
Cool.
Here I go.
How's yours working, Taylor? So far, so good?
Yes, I think I'm done.
All right.
Okay, I'm done.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to correct a few things here, starting with the size of the text. I'll left-click each one of these, and you can too if you want to do it along with me. Once you have your room area text selected, on the bottom right corner of the properties palette is a little arrow kind of pointing off to the right at a 45-degree angle. Left click on that. That'll bring up your properties palette. So your properties panel brings up your property palette. Once you're here, under the text category of minimize general and of minimize 3D visualization, under text there is text height. It's currently 1 foot. Now there's no good reason for that, so I'm going to left click where it says 1 foot. I'll just type the number 8 and press enter, and it will shrink that text up. That'll solve the first problem. That looks really small now. But it's supposed to be 8 inches.
Is this under properties?
It should be like the dialog box itself, or
Mine looks different.
let me see what yours looks like.
I don't know if maybe because they're all opened.
Let's see. I think it's just nothing selected yet. That's all. So just left click on one of your text objects.
Oh.
Not that one. That one's, we want to keep that one the way it is. But actually, yours looks. If you hit escape to deselect both of them, and then click on the 271. Nice. And then kind of click the minus sign on general category and the minus sign on 3D visualization. Your text height is 8 inches.
Okay.
You're in good shape. So yours is just behaving. How about the other two? If you take a look at the other two, yep, you're good. You're good.
Thank you.
Sure. I'm going to change presenter. And so I can see all three of my text objects are shifted. I can control arrow key to get them over to the right somewhat. It's called nudge. But I kind of want to change these first. I don't like how it's lowercase square feet. So watch as I do this. I'm going to double click on my text. Double click. I'll highlight square feet, and on the formatting panel I can change case. I'll go uppercase with that. That's just me. You don't have to go uppercase. In fact, I don't even want it to say square feet all the way out. I want it to say SQFT or something like that. Maybe I'll put a period there. So this is very editable. And then I'll just control arrow key to the right a little bit. It's not going to be perfect. So what I do is I double left click my text, highlight square feet. I'll use the change case, change to uppercase. And again, this is just me. You may not like that. You may not want it to be like that.
How did you nudge them to the left? Or to the right, I should say?
Yeah, or whichever way. You just select it, hold your control key down, and then just use your arrow keys to sort of push it. Control arrow key after selecting it on the keyboard.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did they put 2? No. I'll just double click. I'll highlight this, and I'll go uppercase. I think I did that across the board, right? So I probably should have a space in there. I'm not going to belabor it, but once you, so this is an opinion, but like once you start putting text on your drawing, all of a sudden it's like really starts taking on some depth and some sort of finished look.
And then I didn't see how you changed the font. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's the only reason I'm here. I just did a double left click. Oh, I wanted to change the value too. That's right too. I did a double left click, and then I swiped over the square feet, and then on formatting panel, there's a little big A, little a. That's change case. Use the drop down, and you can go uppercase to make it upper if you want to. That's totally up to you. It'd almost be faster to like delete it and just if you wanted it, I mean, because I changed the case, I took out the UARE, I put in a period. I'd probably more quickly just type it and be done with it. Cool. All right, so far so good? Questions on anything?
Nope.
And your last name is pronounced Yurashek?
Yes, it is.
All right, killed it. I'm really bad with names. I had a young lady in class last week. Her name was I think it was Beverly, not Beverly, Baverly, and everyone called her Bav or Bave. I could never get it. I could just never get it. It's kind of a source of stress for me. But I got Sean. My brother's middle name is Sean. My best friend's name is Sean. Actually, the order that your names are displaying, Sean Taylor. It's one of the heroes of the Redskins from back in the day. If you're a football fan, you wouldn't be a Redskins fan, but you would be. I mean, Taylor, you might be a Redskins fan. You might be a Ravens fan.
I'm sure. I'm not a big football person, but I'd rather go to Ravens games.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been to Ravens games. Like I went to a Ravens game, preseason game where they played the Redskins, and we put on Ravens colors because we wanted to be, just mix it up. And what a great stadium! What fun that was! Beautiful stadium. One of the engineers I worked with, he actually did some design work on it, and so it was really fun being there. I like Baltimore a lot. I don't care to drive there for like 4 days of training. That's very stressful, but it's a great city. I love going there.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Cool. You could change if you wanted to. You could change the precision of this. Like I could double click on my 246.7083 and just make it 246.7. But then I got to readjust my alignment. Right? I'll double click on 187 and I'll backspace just to make it 0.3. Just so you know you can do this. This is kind of manual. Double click, backspace 271.8, and I'll just kick this over a little bit again. And I haven't ever done this, but I just swear one of these days I'm going to do it. I'm going to put the dimensions on first. I think no one really care where the room names are. You should be inside of the room, but no one really cares where the room name is. The dimensions, to keep those neat, those should really go on first. But it's just how it always has been. We've always done sorry, had to stretch. We've always done the text first. Now, if you wanted to, you could delete those polylines. Those polylines have served their purpose. And it's totally up to you if you delete them or not. I'll delete them. And then I'm going to put in that shelf and poll text. But let me know if I'm moving too fast or if you have any questions on anything. I think I'm done with coffee. Yeah, I didn't sleep at all last night. Sometimes I just don't sleep. And so I'm good for one 16-ounce cup of coffee. Today I had two, and I have to be careful when I have too much coffee. I could teach a 4-hour class in 15 minutes, no problem. Now, no one would understand what I was saying, but I could do it. So I'm going to change text styles. I'm changing to notes. I'll use the drop down, change from room area to notes. And this is an example. Don't feel like you have to do it this way. I have a habit of doing this, and I don't think anyone does this. I'm going to center my text on the shelf, and I'm going to use my object snap to do it. And it's just a matter of going multi-line text, left-click the bottom right corner, then I'll left-click the left endpoint of that shelf line, change to middle, center, justify, and then just type in shelf and pole. Boom, like that. There's a couple places I can do that. I'll go multi-line text, left-click the endpoint of the shelf, the corner of the closet, middle, center, justify, shelf, and pole. And I don't think anyone even does that. No one is that crazy with their tech. I mean, I could be wrong. I've been out of the business for a while. But just know that you can make it super precise, super neat. Is it giving you a hard time?
The wording is next to each other, not like I'm going up and down, not side by side.
Can I see that?
Actually, I deleted it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll just take a look at it and see if it does it again. It could just be the font. We'll see when you get it put back in.
So I do text, multi-text.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
there's something wacky with it. We should fix it.
Something wacky.
Yeah. So you hit escape, if you will, and go to your annotation panel. We'll go back to the Textile Manager.
Annotation panel.
Yeah, right. So here you've gone to the annotate tab, which is fine. But what we were.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Come back to that. It's not your fault. It's AutoCAD's fault. They reused the name too many times. So right where your multi-line text tool is, click the word annotation there. So there you go. Click that. Then click the A with a paintbrush. And that is Romans, but see where the vertical is checked? Unchecked vertical.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. And solved.
So I want to do a text box, text. Right?
Yep.
Multi-text. And then I want to do...
You click Justification on the paragraph panel.
Justification.
Again, I don't think people go... Do middle center, and that'll just put it right dead center.
And...
Nice. Killing it. Looks good. And I'll change presenters. Show my screen. So, and really, once you've typed it once, you shouldn't need to type it again. Like, just as an example, don't feel like you have to do this. I'll get rid of some text here. I'll delete this. I'll go left-click, shelf and pole, left-click, copy, left-click the midpoint of my wall, I'll left-click the midpoint of this shelf, midpoint of that shelf, midpoint of that shelf. And those are all my horizontal text locations, I think. And I can hit escape. Undo, left-click text, left-click copy, left-click the midpoint of the wall as the base point, and I can left-click the midpoint of these shelves or whatever. That looks wrong. I didn't like that last one. No, that's right, though. I don't like it. I don't like it, but it's just shifted because of it's a shorter wall. So I'll just left click it, control arrow key, You know, I don't know. I think yeah, it's what it is. It's not a big deal. All right. Questions on anything? Questions at all? To make vertical text, as we see it in the markup, I'm going to create a new piece of text, a new multi-line text object, and it's a little clunky, but it works. And here's how it works. I'll go multi-line text. I'll left-click the bottom corner of the closet, bedroom 3, left-click. Before I click the opposite corner, I'm going to change the rotation by clicking rotation on the command line. Rotation, it defaults to a 0-degree rotation, but I want 90. I'll just type in 90, hit enter, left click, then I'll just middle center justify it, shelf and pole, left click. I'll do that again because that's kind of blurry or whatever. Left click multi-line text, left click first corner, left click rotation on the command line, 90 enter, left click opposite corner, middle center justify. It would be smarter to just copy this once you've rotated it once, but no one's ever called me smart. Right, so I'll go multi-line text, left click first corner, left click rotation, 90 enter, left click opposite corner, middle center justify, bench, left click. Harder, definitely harder with the shelf and pole in the big walk-in closet. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna left click shelf and pole, left click copy, left click the I can't do the midpoint of the wall. Can I? I'll do the midpoint of the shelf, then midpoint of the wall. And it's just a little bit easier. It looks a little uncentered. Yeah, of course it would be. Yeah, it's uncentered. It's not centered. Should have used the bench. Delete it. Left click bench. Left click copy. Left click midpoint of bench. Left click midpoint of shelf. Double left click. Just missing it. There we go. Delete, delete, delete. Backspace, 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 backspace. Shelf. Ooh, I can't type today. And if my text tries to wrap itself, I can just grab, there's a little ruler, or the ruler has a little arrow on it, and just grab that arrow and just pull it to the right to make your text window a little longer, and that way it won't wrap on you. Left click bench, left click copy, left click midpoint, left click midpoint. 5 shelves. All right, questions on formatting text, placing text, moving text, editing text? Questions at all? Okay, good time to save the drawing. And questions on anything we've covered so far this session? We've created a viewport, scaled the drawing, created text. Questions at all? Okay, let's take a break. We'll call it lunchtime. What are we at? We'll do a 65-minute break here. And we come back, we'll format and place dimensions, and generally just get ready to wrap things up. I think we'll have probably 2 short sessions in the afternoon, shorter sessions in the afternoon. Questions at all? All right, enjoy your lunch break, and I'll talk to you in an hour and 5 minutes.